So this week we're going to cover concepts about flowchart and pseudocode. So this week will be kind of easy because we are not going to actually coding something, because flowchart, it is just a chart. It is not like HTML code that we covered for previous weeks. So flowchart is not a coding, but it is. I think it is pretty important because maybe in the future you have a very big, complicated project, and actually the first thing you need to do, it is actually not to start coding immediately. The first thing I think you need to think about it is how to code. You need to think about the procedures, what the first step and what the next step, and what is the whole process looks like. And in order to do that, you need this flowchart and pseudocode stuff to have a plan, have a big picture of your whole project. So, and a flowchart, actually, let's go to the flowchart first. And you can see this chart. Actually, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 5 shapes, 5 different shapes, and each of them will represent different functions for the flowchart. Okay, so maybe you're kind of confused right now, but I just want to talk about it and do a maybe demo about it. Okay, so let's introduce the concepts first. So for the flowchart, the first symbol for the flowchart, it is an oval, which represent a start or end point. So I could show you your actual example right here. So you can see this one. It is actually a practice problem for this recitation, but I want to show you the result directly. So it is like a text calculation. So we start with the oval shape, the oval symbol, and we end with the oval symbol as well. Okay, so this is a start, and this is an end, start, stop, and after that we have revenues, expenses as input for this problem. And the next step is that we calculate earnings, which basically means we use the revenues to minus expenses. This is to get a calculation. And after that we have decision making to say whether the earnings is greater than this number or less than this number. So if it is less than this number, we have a yes branch, we go to the right, and the text for this one is gonna be 20%. And if it is not less than this number, we go to the left branch, we have a no. So the text is gonna be 30%. And you could take either branches based on your calculation, and we just pick one branch from this two. So we go right here. We need to display the taxes, whatever is 20 or 30. We need to display it, and after display, we end the whole process. That's the idea. Okay, let's go back. So the first symbol is oval, which means to start a flowchart, we need to always start with a oval symbol and end with the oval symbol. So, and the next one is arrows. So you can see right here, we connect different symbols with the arrows. So this one basically it is just like connectors between different objects. Okay, so next one, it is a parallelogram, which is a symbol takes input from maybe a keyboard or whatever. So it is just a symbol takes input, and at the same time it is also a output symbol. So let's go back to this example. So we need to, for this problem we need to get input for 2 parameters. The first one is revenues, second one is expenses. So in order to represent the procedure of getting data, we use the parallelogram to get the data of revenues and expenses. And this is input, and let's say this one, they said display texts. So for this one, the purpose, the function of this one is different from this one, because for this one at the top, it just takes data, but for this one on the bottom, the function of it is to display the final result. Okay, so the purpose, the function of parallelogram, the first one is that it takes input, and the second one is that it output the final display. Okay, this is a parallelogram. The next one is the process. It is a rectangle, represent a calculation or whatever. So let's say we just talk about the input. So after input, we need to do some data processing for the data we just take in. So in order to do that, we need to use a rectangle to calculate the earnings. And in this rectangle, the thing is said actually is that we use revenues to minus expenses. So it's like a factory or process center. We just use this rectangle to process the data we just get from this parallelogram. So in order to, in the future, we use this rectangle to do some processing stuff, to do calculation. Okay. And the last one, it is a diamond, indicates decision making. So for this one, for this example right here, is that in this diamond shape we put a statement with a question mark. So basically the diamond will have two branches, the left one and the right one. So in this way, it's like are you a female or male? You could only start, or you could only pick one branch from this diamond, from this decision making statement. Okay, so yeah, so every time you need to, maybe you need to have a decision or something, you need to use this diamond shape. Okay, so I think we have a website right here, so which is 3w.drew.io, which is a website. You could draw a flowchart online. So let's go to this one. So you could just log in this website with your with your Scarlet Mail, and you just create a new diagram. And you could pick whatever. You could pick actually blank diagram, or you could just pick the flowchart. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So let's delete all of this. And you can say this is a layout that you're gonna play around, and there's a bunch of symbols that we covered on our slides. You can see this is an oval, this is a parallelogram, this is a diamond, this is a let's say rectangle. Where's rectangle? Right here. And this is a connector. Alright, so you could just drag it down, drag it from left to right, but we don't need this one. We only need maybe this 5. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Flowchart. Okay, so we just talked about the flowchart, and second one, we need to also be familiar with the pseudocode. So pseudocode is actually like the code by English. So you can say there is like a corresponding relationship between the flowchart and the pseudocode. The difference is that for the flowchart, we draw a picture which is more like straightforward. But for the pseudocode, I mean, it has the same logic. You see that input revenues, input expenses, and calculate the earnings with revenues minus expenses. And there's also have a decision making part, so just like the flowchart. So if the earnings is less than this number, and the tax is gonna be 20%. Other than that, the tax is gonna be 30, and display taxes stop. So the idea that the flowchart and Pseudocode, they have the same logic. The algorithm in most cases will be the same, and the difference is that they have different format. So for the pseudocode, the format of this one is that we use English or other human languages to describe the algorithm. But for the flowchart, is that we use this more straightforward pictures, the arrows, the symbols to represent different steps. Okay, that's a connection and a relationship between the flowchart and pseudocode. Okay, this is the pseudocode. Okay, let's go to the first question. I think we covered about a little bit about this one, but I want you to maybe pause a few seconds and just read through the description, because the ability to abstract data to get the main point from a very long description is very crucial. So you could just pause a few seconds to say if you could get the key points from this very long description or not. Okay, and I'm going to keep going, so feel free to pause. So it said a company needs to calculate taxes that need to pay for last year earnings. So if the earnings are different between the revenues and the expenses, if the earnings is less than this number, the tax rate is gonna be 20%. Otherwise, the tax is gonna be 30%. Okay. So it is very obvious, like there is a decision making. So if the earnings is smaller than this number, the tax is gonna be 20. But if it's greater than this number, the tax is gonna be 30. So yeah. So this is the code, but I want you to go to the flowchart directly. Yeah, so I want to create this one to show a little demo about it. Okay, so start. Okay, so to start we need a oval, right, to be a start point. We double click on it to put strt. And next we need to get the input. It says but the earnings are different between the revenues and the expenses. So the input, we use the parallelogram. It's gonna be revenues, earnings. So we have two input parameters. Okay, and we could just connect this one directly with the arrow, with the connector. Okay, and once we get the data, we get input data, we need to do a process, because the revenue, let's say the earnings is equals to the revenue minus expenses. It is very simple math problem. So right here we need to process, so we have a rectangle right here. So we have earnings equals to RUA minus expenses. So this is a process procedure. So we use the rectangle to do that. Okay, connect between. Okay. And then next we have decision making. So if the earnings, which is this variable earning, is less than this number, the tax rate is gonna be 20. Otherwise, the tax is gonna be 30. So right here we need a diamond. Where are you? Okay, let's say earnings greater than question mark. Okay, connect. So if it is let's say greater, smaller. If it is a yes, we go right, and if it is no, we go left. So right here we have rectangle. X equals to earning, and we have the same logic on the left, but this one is 20. Alright, and let's say connect this one, and I put a tax on right here, which is yes, and this one is no, which is no branch. So I want to mention one thing is that you need to specify the statement of different branches. You cannot say you need to indicate whether it's a yes or no on top of different branches. Okay, so because otherwise it's not gonna work, because if you don't indicate whether it's a yes branch or it is a no branch, it is very confusing actually. So yeah, so if the earning is smaller than this number, we go to right. If the yes, we go right. Wait a second. Oh, sorry, I think I just made a mistake right here. So this is 30. This is 20 actually. Yeah. So if it is smaller than this number, and if we go yes branch, the tax is gonna be 20. And if it is not, we go left, the tax is gonna be 30%. And no matter you pick either one, we will end up with 1 point, which is output. We need to output the final result to display the tax. Okay, we use the parallelogram to display. We use the parallelogram to take input. We also use the parallelogram to display the final result. So we just connect. Connect. Okay, and remember we need a oval to be a start as well as a end point. So stop. Okay, connect. So this is basically the flowchart for, say, for this question, for this tax calculation. So we start with the oval. We use the parallelogram to take input, two parameters. The first one is revenue, the second one is expenses. And after we get the data, we just need to process the data. We use the rectangle to do a processing, and after that we need to have a decision making based on the description. So if the earning is smaller than this number, we go yes branch. The tax is gonna be 20%. And if it's no, we go left branch. We go no branch. The tax is gonna be 30%. And I mean, you could only go one way from this point. You cannot go both. So I mean, whether you pick this one or you pick this one, you cannot do it at the same time. You could only pick one way at one time. So, but no matter which one you pick, we end up with display text. We use a parallelogram, and after that, we just use the oval to indicate the flowchart. It's finished. Okay. Okay, so this is flowchart, and it's pseudocode for this one. It has the same algorithm logic. So start, stop, and the input, revenues, input expenses, and we calculate the earnings with revenues minus expenses. If the earnings is less than this number, the tax is gonna be 20. Else the tax is gonna be 30. Okay, so the same logic. It's very straightforward. Okay, so for the next one, which is ordering food example. Okay, so same logic. You can pause here for a few seconds to get the information from this whole description. Okay, maybe just a few seconds. Like starting ordering burgers and pizza, they are inputs, and calculate the cost. It is use the 5 to times how many burgers plus use the unit price 8 to times the pizzas. Okay, and if the total cost is greater than 10, give a free coupon. Other than that, we do nothing. Okay. Basically, this ordering food is pretty much the same as the tax calculation. It just, we change the description, but actually the algorithm, the idea inside is actually like the same, 100% same. We just have a different background, but the core, the stuff is the same. Okay. Okay, I will show the result directly because it's just too similar. Okay. So, as always, just like the text calculation, but I mean for every flowchart, we start with the oval. We start with this one, and we get input burgers, pizzas, and after that we do the calculate total price, total cost. With the formula. So the formula right here, I mean, you could put a formula in this rectangle, or I mean, you could just use English to describe what you did here. Is okay. I mean, but if I do the assignment or exam, I will put the formula right here. The formula right here is at 5 each for each burgers, and you use the 5 to times how many burgers you have, and plus $8 times how many pizzas you have, and you get the total cost. And after you get total cost, you need to determine whether the total cost is greater than 10 or not. If the yes, we have a free coupon. Other than that, we go no branch, we do nothing. And whether either method you take, we end up with the display total cost, which is a parallelogram. We display the total cost, and we just, stop with the oval. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, so the third practice, it is a store discount. So it's that a store offers discount for their silver and gold card members. It's like Costco maybe. So those with a gold card obtain a discount of 20%, while silver card holders can get a 10% discount. And there's the third one. It's pretty interesting that no discount is offered to those who are not card holders. So, me personally, I get the idea, I get the information from this one is that there's gonna be like 3 possibilities. Whether you are gold card members, or you are silver card holders, or you have nothing. So there's like 3 different branches right here. So you could pause here for a few seconds to think about it, to how to structure like many possibilities flowchart. Okay. But I will show you the result directly because this is offline video. You could pause anytime. Okay, so we start with the oval, and the input is gonna be the cardholder category. So right here you could put like it is gold or silver or nothing. There's like 3 tabs categories. And there's gonna be like, oh sorry, I think card holders. Okay, so I think right here the first input is that whether you are a card holder or not, and after this input we have another, which is membership, whether you are silver or gold. Okay. So after we get the input, we go to the decision making. So whether you are a card holder, if you are, whether you are silver or gold, you go right, you go to the yes branch. And in the branch we have another sub branch to determine whether you are a gold member or you are a silver member. So if you are gold member, you go right and you have discount of 20%, or you are not a good member, you go down, you have discount of 10%. Okay, and this is a sub branch. And if we go back to say the cardholder branch, if we have no, which means we are not cardholder, we are not silver or gold, so we have no, and discount for us is gonna be 0. So it is like a branch, small branch in a big branch, but there is like 3 different methods, 3 different branches totally. So whether you pick discount 0 or 10 or 20, you could pick one of the method from these 3 methods at a time. You cannot go through both of them together. You could only pick one road. You could pick one method. So after, no matter which one you pick, we end up with a display discount, which is a parallelogram. And after that, we stop the whole flowchart. Okay. And this is the pseudocode for this one. So get the data and do decision making whether you are cardholder or not. If you are cardholder, we go to next decision making. Are you a silver or gold member? Okay. If you are gold, you have discount of 20. I also have discount of 10. And if you are not cardholder at all, you just have a 0 discount. Okay. Yeah. So I think this is pretty much for today. And for the next assignment, I think you're going to write, the pseudocode and flowchart. I want you to pay attention to this format. We have like start and read, if, else, and if, else, and if. I want you to pay attention to this format. Although I say there's like no fixed format for the pseudocode, but I want you have a thought or format for the pseudocode. I don't expect you to submit like you do the exposed writing or basic writing stuff. I don't want you write a paragraph for the next assignment. I just want you to use the short sentence, or you could use formulas to describe the algorithm, and it is the best. It is great. Okay. And if you want to draw a flowchart, you could go to the website. Just I do the demo right here. You could go to the draw.io to go to this website, just like the demo ID right here. Okay. And if you want to download or export, you could export as a PNG or PDF, whatever. You could just click the file and just export this flowchart. And this is gonna be fun. Okay. All right, thank you. I think we don't have coding for this week, but I want to get the idea of the flowchart and the pseudocode. Although maybe you think it's pretty easy, but I mean it's kind of important. All right. Thank you so much.